And away we go. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome, one and all, to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. If you're listening anywhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta, X at Coffee Talk Chat, and Rumble, and that's at, not at anything, Coffee Talk 2, number 2, the number 2. And of course, if you are watching on Rumble, I cannot see your comments. Can't see them. Sorry. I can only see the comments from YouTube, the way that Restream is structured currently. And of course, I do read through as many of the comments as I can for the benefit of those of you who are listening and not able to see. And I'll say hello to some of the people that have chimed in. I see Helter is here today. Puck is here. Kimberly, Dragon, and Puck. Oh, yeah, Puck again. Puck says the Ukrainian fire department's on the way. Well, the Mexican fire department's on the way. The New York fire department was denied. Denied. And Caps is here. He says, let's see how insane things can get. Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea how bad it can get. And I've got Granny Smith in the room. Hi, Granny. I'll let you see Granny real quick. In the doorway, there she is, watching me, keeping an eye on me. And Brian says, did you get a haircut? Yes, my wife cut my hair. She doesn't like it to get too long, but for some reason she wants my beard to reach my belt. So there you go, as we get ready to jump off here and see what is going on. Now, this is something, I think it was Jane that was asking about it, but I don't see Jane in here so far today. And I wanted to bring this up really quickly, and it has to do with the number of firefighters that are in California, because they said that there are roughly about 1,400 of them, roughly 1,400 that were fighting the fires, especially towards the end of last week. And I had suggested that a majority of them are going to be trained inmates from the state penitentiaries. Well, here you go. Article coming up here, and this is going to be from BBC, actually, BBC News. Nearly 1,000 prison inmates are fighting the fires in California. And this is what I was talking about. As you can see, that is not a traditional firefighter. That is what they used. I don't know if they still call them this. They used to refer to them as smoke jumpers. And that is people that are trained to redirect fire during a fire. That's what they would do. And that's primarily who's out here. As we get into the article, nearly 1,000 incarcerated men and women have joined the front lines in a battle against record-breaking wildfires burning across Southern California. The number deployed, which is now 939, are part of a long-running volunteer program led by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. So it's one of the jobs that you can do as a prisoner in that region of the country, because California is not the only state that does this. It's one of those jobs you can do as an inmate, and it gets you out of the facility. You get a little money for it. You don't get much. I know it's going to be less than $1 an hour, but yeah, there you are. Goes on to say their numbers have steadily increased since Tuesday, the day the fires began spreading uncontrollably through Los Angeles, over 10,000 structures, blah, blah, blah. And they go on to tell you what's been going on in Los Angeles. You already know. It says the 900 plus incarcerated firefighters in use account for roughly half of the 1,870 prisoner/firefighters that are in this scheme. In the field, they can be seen in prison orange jumpsuits embedded alongside members of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Incarcerated firefighters have been working around the clock, cutting fire lines and removing fuel from behind structures to slow the fire's spread. The program, which dates back to 1946, has divided critics who see it as exploitive and supporters who say it is rehabilitative. And again, people think they're being exploited. It's how they feel about it. Again, it's an opportunity to get out of the facility. They are compensated for it, although the compensation isn't that great. And it does lean towards their recommendations. Like, let's say someone's up for parole or something, and it's like, oh, I see that you've volunteered for a couple of fires or whatever. It is helpful to them, but I wanted to specify this since I brought it up. That yes, indeed, the majority of the people that they're counting as firefighter personnel are prisoners that have been trained as and being deployed as smoke jumpers. And Monkey has joined us. What else we got going on? Puck says must be out-of-state inmates. California doesn't incarcerate anyone. Yeah, they do. It just doesn't feel that way. Trust me, the prisons in California are probably at capacity or better. Because there is also the prison industrial complex. They don't miss a beat out there. Okay, wait, this is a little different. It says the state pays inmates a daily wage, $5.80 and $10.24, and an additional $1 per day when assigned to active emergencies. Okay, so I got that mixed up. Those wages are a fraction of the salaries received by citizen firefighters in California, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we get that. Again, you talk to any inmate how they feel about being put on a work detail and see how they feel. Kimberly says they aren't being forced to do it. If they want to help, let them. Exactly. And like I said, they've been trained for it. It helps them with parole or whatever they're doing. They get compensated. They know what they're doing. Dilo is here, as well as Bob. But since I had brought it up last week, I just wanted to emphasize on that to demonstrate that, yes, I'm not just making this stuff up, as I've been accused of many times. And you can see some of that in a video I just put up on Coffee Talk today. Yep, viewer mailbag. I know some of you haven't seen that for a while, but there's another viewer mailbag up on Coffee Talk today. Please check it out. Taking a look at some of the snarky and stupid comments that I get. And all people said they arrested a looter who was dressed as a firefighter. There you go. Hey, that's one way to get around. But, in case you were wondering what you could do, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have some suggestions for you as to what you could do to help. Back in the news again. They're back in the news talking about the California wildfires and talking about Zuckerberg and Meta and his changes to their fact-checking policies. I don't know why these people don't understand. No one likes them and no one wants to hear anything that they have to say. I don't get it. People magazine article, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry speak out on Los Angeles fires and encourage the relief efforts. In a nutshell, what's happening here is that they are recommending that people open up their homes. And here it is. This is the quote. Open up. Get out of here. Sorry, ad pop up. Open your home. If a friend, loved one, or pet has to evacuate and you are able to offer them a safe haven in your home, please do. And be sure to check in with any disabled or elderly neighbors to see if they need help evacuating. So this is what Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have to say to you. They want you to open your home, open your doors, and let neighbors and strangers live in your house because of the fire. And try to set the example, because I guess they have a property out there that they're allowing some friends to hang out at, which isn't exactly isn't exactly the same thing as letting strangers into your house. And I know there are a lot of people that will argue that that's the quote Christian thing to do. And they'll hit you with, what is it, Book of Matthew, the story of the Good Samaritan. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember. But I can tell you a couple of things about the story of the Good Samaritan that you will not hear in church. I ought to do a whole separate video on it. I've had people ask me if I could emphasize in independent videos about some of those subjects. But the thing that they will not tell you in church, one, the idea is that they're suggesting that it's, rather than talking a good game, you should back it up with your actions, for one thing. Okay? And they're not attacking necessarily the people who walked by or suggesting the Samaritans any better than the Hebrew people. The example of a Samaritan is being used because they were pagans primarily, and therefore looked down upon by people who were in the Hebrew faith at that time, which would be understandable because of the very severe or outlandish pagan practices. There's nothing wrong, by the way, with walking by, because you don't know who you're dealing with, which is alluded to also by the fact that, and keep this in mind, the Good Samaritan didn't take that guy home with him. He dumped him off at the inn. Why? Because you don't know who you're dealing with. Taking a stranger in is a good way to get robbed, hurt, or even killed. Back then as much as now. Simple as that. And that's the thing that's glazed over in almost any Bible teaching that you're ever going to see, especially with the way that it's been worked over into a modern Christian construct. And All People says no one anywhere cares about Meghan Markle or her husband. No, I know it. Number one Marvel fan has joined us. Puck says, how many illegal migrants are they sheltering in their UK homes? Zero. Zero. I'll put that up there. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I know what you're alluding to there, that Harry kind of looks like the horse trainer. I know that story. But yeah, the Samaritan does not bring that guy home. He brings him to the inn and pays for him to be put up. He takes a chance, but he's not taking that much of a chance. Peter says, no stranger staying at my home. I have a wife and daughter to think of, and they come first every time. Absolutely. But yeah, they want to be in the news again. Here we go. And like I said, they're also, I'm not even going to read the article. They're also in the news because they're attacking Zuckerberg for relaxing the fact checking on Meta, like it's their damn business. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Going to take a look really quickly at the mayor of Los Angeles. We talked about this. And by the way, there is a rumor flying around that the mayor of Los Angeles has fired the fire chief. That's not true, apparently. Evidently, that was a false story that was being passed around. She should be terminated. She's probably not going to be. Probably not going to be. I wanted to share this clip of the LA mayor being cornered by, I believe, a reporter from Sky News Australia. And this is what I was talking about last week also, which is why I wanted to show it in case nobody saw or heard this. The reporter asking her some actually very pertinent questions, and she refuses to speak at all or even make eye contact. And I mean literally, not a word is uttered. I'll go ahead and run this.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
Let me know if you can't hear that.
Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
And you see how she continues to ignore him, doesn't make eye contact, doesn't look at the camera, does not speak, stone-faced completely. Really, she's just caught completely off guard. She had time to prepare for this. She knew what she was flying into. It's a long flight from Ghana, okay? It really is. That is the sign of someone who's a complete puppet. Can't even think on the fly at all. No one told her what to say, so she doesn't know what to say and doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know what to do. Marvel fan says, I feel will change is mayor way after the fires. More will vote in a different way or just keep doing nonsense. Yeah, they've absolutely had it. Next time they're voting for a different Democrat. And Harbor Girl says the mission was to come here and attack free speech. Puck says, I heard the fire chief threw the mayor under the bus. Oh, wow. Yeah, Puck says her lawyer said, keep your mouth shut. Yeah, not that shut, though. Not that shut. Let me continue this. She's being directed to move. Somebody's pointing. And now she's walking, keeping her head low. There she goes. Run away. Fast as you can. Fast as you can.
Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
Ran to another door and can't get out that way either.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
And that's where he's cut off. Everybody heard that clearly? Everybody heard that clearly? Kimberly says she's the epitome of evil. Peter said she made an election promise that would not travel out of the country while in office. And All People says, thank you for explaining the story of the Good Samaritan. Please make a video explaining it, especially the part about the Samaritan did not bring the traveler stranger home, endangering his family. Yeah. Again, you know, I'm not a, I didn't go to seminary. My wife did go to seminary. She is a graduate from a seminary university. Her and I have, for more than 12 years, studied the Bible, the proper Torah, what you would refer to as the Old Testament, in great depth, including transference of language, understanding the history of the time, the culture, and all of that. And it puts it in an extremely different context. Unfortunately, when you go to a seminary, and she'll attest to this, and I've heard this explained from other people that have gone to different seminary colleges and universities, that what you learn is A, how to run a church, and B, whatever that seminary's doctrine is, you don't necessarily even ever open a Bible in most cases. So you're really not learning anything about the Bible stories. But yeah, you won't hear that you won't hear those nuances in church. But yeah, I can do a complete video on that. I've thought about that with many of the things that come up religiously speaking. Most of it is, again, it's a modern Christian construct, or it's tradition based out of either modern Christianity or ancient Catholicism, rather than what's actually biblically sound. Adilo said she knows she effed up and ran. Yeah, She screwed up all right. She screwed up big time. And she can't fix that. She can't walk it back. She can't fix it, and she can't walk it. She can't walk it back. But she was probably advised not to speak and didn't. She did not speak. But again, not the she's a puppet. Someone's pulling strings, someone's telling her what to say, and there's not enough going on upstairs for her to be able to speak on the fly. She could have talked her way around that. She could have equivocated her way around that. Hey, I came as fast as I could. Long flight from Guyana. I haven't heard much. I want to get in touch with the people who are in charge. We'll take it from there. I feel really bad about how things have turned out. We're going to see what we can do to stabilize it and try to fix some of this. Something plausible that doesn't make you sound like a moron or doesn't make you look like an idiot. Like this, which is a clip that I'm going to show you from, I believe it's her X account. And this video clip is also courtesy of Sky News, I think. Let me open up this video clip. This is her after getting away from that reporter. Okay. Now she has a script. And she's going to go on like X or Instagram or wherever the hell she filmed this to. I forget where. Brian says, where was the mayor on a beach in a Caribbean resort? She was in Guyana at an inauguration of a new president, I believe, to go there to help to represent the United States. And your tax dollars paid for it, my friend. Yes, indeed. This is her after dude chased her through the airport, okay? And now she has a script and a big happy smile, and she's going to fix the world. Watch.
Angelinos, we're still going through it. And to any of you and all of you that have experienced a loss, the grief, the anger, the just utter shock, I've seen the devastation. It is unbelievable the amount of loss that people have experienced. But we have to get through this crisis, and I know that we will. I was at the Sylmar command post today, and I saw the work of our first responders and how they've been able to defeat the fires in certain areas. We know we still have much more to go, and we know the winds are going to kick up again. But we got to stick together. We got to stand strong. And then we have to rebuild our city. We're the nation's second largest city, one of the greatest cities in the world. And
Is that help?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. If I hear one more "we're all in this together" speech from another elitist politician, I'm going to be sick. I'm really sick and tired of that. We heard enough of that during the pandemic. When they had all the lockdowns. We all in this together, brothers and sisters. My ass. Please don't give me the "we're all in this together" speech. Please don't tell us you've got the greatest city in the world while you have fecal maps and you give away free drug kits rather than fund the fire department. Please don't tell us that. Seriously. Puck says she got her training from dozens of trips to Cuba back when she was in that terrorist organization. Brian says that's the most half-assed speech I've ever heard. Yeah. Indeed. And I'll put that up from all people if anybody wants to read it. I keep getting in trouble. I'm getting like 2 strikes a day at this point for probably from reading your comments. Anyways. Her big goofy smile and her poise and the fact that she's obviously reading that, she's probably reading it off a cue card or a teleprompter. It's so phony and so fake. Oh, we're all in this together. I don't want to hear that. I don't believe that. We are not all in this together. We're not in shit together. Now, I'm not in it at all. I'm not in it at all, really, outside of reading this and outside of being offended by it because I don't live in California. But the people in California, they don't need to hear that. They need to hear what happened and what solutions there can be to stop what's going on, fix the problems, explain what happened, something. Don't sit there, oh, you're in the second largest city in the United States and whatever. Shut up. Seriously. Nobody needs to hear that. Nobody needs to hear that from you. They don't trust you. How did this woman get elected? How did this woman get elected in the first place? And they get another one on here. It's a clip from Newsome, which I thought was interesting because Newsome lies in this clip and gets caught in the lie and called out by the reporter, and then he tries to walk it back. Let me get this open here. Puck says it's Maui 2.0. Yeah, I know. Now all we need is for Dwayne Johnson to come out and start begging for money. Let me run this clip for you again. If you can't hear it clearly, let me know.
What he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt and reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full of the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation to understand what was happening with that local reservoir.
Gavin,
there it was. Now, he just now said that Donald Trump is lying and that all the reservoirs are full. And the reporter says, no, the one that services the Palisades was empty. And then he was like, oh, yeah, that's why I'm investigating that. Did you not think anyone knew? Or that they wouldn't find out? He just lied. At least he can think on his feet, unlike the mayor, who was totally caught off guard at the airport. At least that was quick. He came up with a response to getting caught in his lie very quickly. Peter says California is the most regulated state, yet they don't require roof sprinklers in fire risk areas. Yeah. Puck says you'll get a fair price for your property, Governor Newsome. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there'll be a fair price. I can just see BlackRock licking their lips right now. Oprah. Seriously. And Newsome also has been additionally caught with his pants down. Caught with his pants down here because of the donations. Now, I don't know if anyone has seen this yet. I don't know if anyone has seen this article yet. Is this a New York Post article? Yeah, New York Post article coming up here. And those video clips I borrowed from Sky News that I just played. He's got a thing set up for donations for the fire department, only they're not getting the money. Gavin Newsome sparks outrage for soliciting donations to the LA wildfire victims via Super PAC. California Governor Gavin Newsome sparked fierce outrage Sunday for soliciting donations to victims of the deadly Los Angeles wildfires via his Super PAC, which pushed users to add their personal information to a Democratic fundraising site. Newsome posted a link on X to CaliforniaFireFacts.com, a website set up by his campaign committee in response to what he claimed was misinformation on wildfires. But the site urges users to give money to the California Fire Foundation and links them to a module from Act Blue, the Democratic Party's fundraising platform. The Act Blue donation box says the money is being raised by Campaign for Democracy, not for victims of the fires. Quote, your donation will go directly towards supporting firefighters and the communities they serve, including direct financial support to impacted residents. And that's a quote from the site. However, the California Fire Foundation, which helps firefighters, their families, and victims, allows users to donate directly without relying on services like Act Blue to make those types of transactions. Users who donate via Newsome's fundraising appeal are automatically signing up for text messages from his super PAC if they provide phone numbers. Quote, not a cent of these donations go to Governor Gavin Newsome or his PAC. Governor Newsome is proud to have raised $450,000 for the Fire Foundation and small dollar contributions during the fires, and is grateful for the people across the nation who have come together to help California in their time of need. And that's according to a spokesman from Newsome, and that is after all of this was revealed. Observers online quickly pointed out that Act Blue also takes portions of donations as processing fees. Act Blue claims to charge a flat rate of 3.95% off of each donation to cover processing. Yeah, okay. Act Blue is a controversial platform which last year congressional Republicans flagged scores of transactions on Act Blue had been flagged as potentially suspicious or fraudulent. That's cute. Again, they have their own website. They have their own methods of making donations. They don't need Governor Newsome to do it. They don't need a super PAC. He could have directed them straight to their own website and their own donation links. Instead, he wants them to funnel the money through his super PAC. I don't trust that. I don't trust that. Monkey says, I remember the donations actually goes to the Act Blue organization that's supposed to be for the Californians that lost their homes. And Puck says, now you know why it's so important that they control the information. It must be very frustrating for them now. I know. Sven said the Marshall Plan Newsome laid out required a complete elimination of much of the housing in LA. Yeah, exactly. And Peter says fundraising from taxpayers. I thought that's where what taxes were for. That's what they should be for. That's what they should be for. You take enough money from everybody. But I don't trust this. Trust this at all. He doesn't need to do that. The California Fire Foundation already has. It says right here, allows users to donate directly without relying on any services like Act Blue to make those types of transactions. They have their own system. All he had to do, if he wanted to help them, was promote their system, the existing system, not run or funnel or wash money through his super PAC. Why would anybody trust that? Why would anybody trust that? All People says Gavin Newsome is the nephew of Nancy Pelosi. Is he? Is he the nephew of Nancy Pelosi? I hadn't heard that one. I had not heard that one. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. But that wouldn't surprise me either. That wouldn't surprise me either. As we move around here. That's enough about the fire for now, I think, because we've been talking about that for a few days. Nature Nerd says, looks like hell in California. It kind of looked like that before, didn't it? Peter says they left California in 2014, or should I say escaped? Puck says Samaritan's Purse and Salvation Army, the only trustworthy charities I know of. I don't know. I don't trust any of them. So I don't trust any charity, period. I don't know how I feel about them. I don't know how I feel about them. So there we go. While he's leaving office, we'll switch to Washington. Talk about Biden here really quickly. As he does the final few punches here, we are 7 days away from him permanently leaving office. Another New York Post article here. Another parting Biden blow to American families, a war on water heaters. In a final slam of regular Americans, Team Biden's Green Crusaders just targeted yet another common household appliance, gas-fired tankless, water heaters. Scheduled to kick in 2029, the new rule bans 40% of new water heater models, forcing consumers to pay another $450 for electric alternatives that won't work if the power goes out. This follows last year's rule to effectively prohibit new non-condensing gas furnaces by 2028 and raise consumer costs by over $900. It's all in service to the green delusion that forcing Americans to rely on electric everything will somehow reduce carbon emissions, even though the U.S. electric supply will remain every bit as dependent on burning fossil fuels for the foreseeable future. The growth in wind, solar, and other alternatives isn't even enough to make up for growing electric demand. That's true. So these mandates won't reduce emissions, as the Biden Energy Department pretends. They'll just put new strains on the electric grid, increasing the chances of blackouts when none of the new appliances will work. And we already see that in California because they have rolling blackouts and brownouts all the time. It says the rush to the green transition makes it more likely that power will go out in winter by increasing the cold weather peak demand. Also, those heat pumps that they're trying to push on us, they don't work very well at all. They have to have a very particular insulated environment in order to function in the first place. And then there's a limit to how much heat they can actually produce. They are not going to produce as much heat as a traditional furnace by any means. So you're not going to, in many cases, people are not going to be able to heat their homes efficiently. And as was pointed out, if there's a power outage due to increased demand on the electrical grid, you're going to have other problems. Nature Nerd says Jimmy Carter sold the Panama Canal for $1. Very stupid. Yeah, it was very stupid. Never let go of an asset. All People says yes, Newsom is Pelosi's nephew. Google it, everyone. The elites are always related by blood. Interesting. Puck suggests Cloward Piven is definitely part of it. Peter says most charities only give 20% to the cause they are collecting for. Clinton Foundation was 6%. Ooh, that's really bad. That's really bad. Oh my God. And one more here real quick. Nature Nerd says Jimmy Carter overthrew the royal family of Iran, leading to radical Islam to take over the Middle East. And he certified the Chaves election in Venezuela, which destroyed Venezuela today. The only thing Jimmy Carter wanted to do while he was president that they wouldn't let him do that probably would have been useful, because he didn't really do anything that fantastic during his presidency, was that he wanted to, in South America, you have a lot of options at the pump. He had surmised, if I remember this correctly, we produce so much corn, we throw it all away. We should make it all into ethanol and have more ethanol choices at the pump, like they do in South America. Then you'd have, like right now, if we had pure ethanol options, you'd be paying 85 cents a gallon. And he couldn't get anywhere with that. That's actually not a bad idea. We throw it all out anyways. You may as well process the corn into ethanol and then have a pure ethanol option if you have a vehicle that can consume that. Makes sense. But nah, that's that didn't fly. Then everything else he did is a disaster. Sven says coal burns. Coal is momentary and coal is costly. There will be no more coal burned in this office today. There you go. Quoting Scrooge from Charles Dickens. And I see Jericho is here today. Jericho has joined us. And All People reminds us Newsom is Pelosi's nephew by second degree via her brother-in-law's marriage. Okay, we'll have to look that up. I mean, it's totally believable. I mean, I get what you're saying there. And also, while Biden is trying to sabotage the incoming president, because that looks like that's all he's doing anymore. More red tape. Washington Examiner article coming up here. Unelected swamp takes control, imposes 19 rules for every law passed. And here's Biden signing documents with a bunch of people that he no clue who the hell they are. I don't know or care who any of them are. I don't know why that one woman is holding a picture, photograph of somebody that she's pretending to give a shit about. It says here, Washington's sprawling bureaucracy has taken charge of the nation by turning laws passed by Congress into a mind-boggling series of often costly rules and regulations. The unelected swamp that President-elect Trump proposed to drain last year issued an average of 19 new rules and regulations for every single law passed, an unconstitutional effort that has been allowed to go on for years. While many laws address routine matters like post office renamings, recent major legislation such as the CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a disaster, fuels expansive and expensive rulemakings. The dynamic enables agencies to subsequently implement substantial policy changes without direct congressional oversight, often bypassing notice and comment rules with informal guidance, policy statements, memoranda, and other forms of regulatory dark matter, according to regulatory watchdog Clyde Wayne Cruz of the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Cruz, at the end of the year, compiles a report on the laws Congress improves and compares it to the rules and regulations bureaucracies turn those laws into. Some of the new laws are simple, but many are complicated, and agencies spit out lists of regulations that bureaucrats believe are needed to fulfill whatever they think Congress might have wanted. While those are published in the Federal Register, Congress often moves on and doesn't follow up with what federal agencies do with the laws that were passed. Those regulations can be much more impactful than how lawmakers viewed their law, prompting Cruz to call his findings the Unconstitutionality Index. Last year, for example, he said Congress approved 175 laws. The swamp turned those into 3,248 new rules and regulations, and there is more coming as Joe Biden leaves office. Puck says more pardons coming, by the way. Yeah, and also he's giving a medal to Pope Francis. And I'm like, Pope Francis is the worst pope that we've had since World War II. Seriously, he's terrible. He's done a terrible job. But he gets a medal. You get a medal, and you get a medal, and you get a medal, and you get a medal. But here we go. Burying America in laws, rules, and regulations. 19 new rules for every law passed is how it averages out. And that makes no sense. That makes no sense. But like I said, you get a medal. Everybody gets a damn medal. Michael J. Fox gets a medal. Denzel Washington gets a medal. Everybody gets a medal. I got this. Remember, I got my Great Citizen Award. I got a Great Citizen Award. I haven't signed it. But, I don't have a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Not likely to get one. Caps says, please make a video talking about the Bible, since I know people who believe in the Bible and it seems like they don't know what they are talking about and they are making themselves look like fools. Sure I can. I don't know if it'll help anybody. I could try. I've thought about it. And I don't know everything, but there are certain things that I have figured out that, again, I'm like, this is either a modern Christian construct or it's buried in Catholicism and dogma and their traditions. A lot of it is tradition and has nothing to do with anything that's actually biblical. It's not there. And I've been challenged with that before. Well, show me where that's not in the Bible. If it's not there, I can't show it to you. I mean, it's not there. I can't show it to you. I can't demonstrate something that isn't there. And that is the answer to your question. But yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. And I could potentially do that. Sven says Francis isn't allowed to be Pope, but there he is. Yeah, there he is. There he is. He pulled it off, ladies and gentlemen, and he gets a medal. He gets a medal. Because I had seen the article. I didn't pull it up. But whatever. Brian says, people think it's enough to just call themselves Christians and say they believe in God, or the Lord, as the Bible calls him. And I will tell you right now that in the Bible, and you can look this up for yourself, just about everywhere that you see the term Lord or God, the actual name of God was removed and replaced with Lord or God. The name is there, which is spelled with in Hebrew with the Yud, a Hey, a Vav, and a Hey, Yud Hey Vav Hey, which is pronounced roughly Yehovah, or some Orthodox would pronounce it Yehovah, or Yehovah. That's where you get Jehovah or Jehovah from, but that's anglicizing, since there is no J in Hebrew, because the J sound is not pronounced. Is Yehovah would be the closest to accurately depicting it, but it appears in the Bible more than 6,000 times, Old and New Testament, and it was whitewashed. It was removed by the Catholic Church. But yeah. Let me throw that up there from all people. I won't read it because I get in enough trouble as we get ready to take a look at some corruption. Haven't been able to, so much has been going on with the fires in California, which demonstrates a crap ton of corruption all by itself. And I'll take a moment to remind everybody that, again, if you are watching on Rumble, I can't see your comments right now. The way that Restream is structured, I'm hoping to switch back to StreamYard and have better luck with them. And by the way, there's Granny Smith. Hey, Granny. She's asleep. Granny Smith is sleeping in the chair behind me. Let's get back into some of these traditional corruption discussions. Fox News article coming up here. Former St. Louis prosecutor Kim Gardner spent hundreds of work hours on her nursing degree. Oh, okay. Former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kimberly Gardner failed to make her job as Circuit Attorney her top priority, according to reports. Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick, released a 71-page report Tuesday, as well as a press release that supported a previous statement of Gardner's being the captain of a rudderless ship of chaos as she pursued a nurse practitioner certification during the hours she should have been doing her job. The former Democratic prosecutor spent 34 and a half working days. That is the equivalent of 7 solid weeks in the office during business hours, working on her studies at St. Louis University, the state auditor's office says in their statement. Quote, in my view, the driving force was Kim Gardner's failure to make her job as circuit attorney her top priority. And that's her. Here's a picture of Kim Gardner, who was taking nursing classes while she was supposed to be doing her actual job for the state. There she is. Another diversity hire, I guess. His review also found widespread staff turnover, misuse of public funds, and significant drops in cases that have been filed, referred, and closed before Gardner resigned under fire. Other issues cited in the audit, include more than $58,000 in public funds spent on flowers. Oh, a disc jockey, car detailing, an office picnic, a chili cookout, and Gardner's personal legal expenses. Because you know those tax dollars? That's her money, Jack. All people wants to know if I could repost the blonde comment. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Let me back up. There you go. There you go. That's her money. That's my money. That is my money. That's right. Gardner told auditors that she was pursuing a family nurse practitioner postmaster's certificate to improve the office and bring mental health awareness to the office. Really? If you wanted to bring mental health awareness to the office, you could have held a seminar and had someone come in and do a training period for a couple of hours, which is still unnecessary because that's still taxpayer dollars and has nothing to do with the damn job. She was part of a movement of, quote, progressive prosecutors, oh, here it is, who sought diversion to mental health treatment or drug abuse treatment for low-level crimes, pledged to hold police more accountable, and sought to free incarcerated people who were wrongfully convicted. And here's another picture of Kim Gardner. There she is. She shouldn't wear makeup. It makes it look like she has really bad bags under her eyes. It says, leaders often criticized Gardner for low homicide conviction rate. What's that got to do with unnecessary drug convictions, I wonder? Among other concerns, she frequently butted heads with police and conservatives. Our audit report paints a clear picture of an office that was far better off before Kim Gardner took over and has quickly rebounded after the departure. Oh, you got to love it. That's your diversity hire at work, folks. This is what you get. This is what you get. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. Leonard says, I sent my two bosses a text before work letting them know I'm still sick, but that I would be there. Got called in the office and was told they don't feel sorry for me and accused me of making up stories. Making up stories. Well, a lot of people do fake things, but, you know, you can never know. But it gets worse because I got these corruption stories backed up, and it's funny how they're almost always a Democrat. I'm waiting for the Republican that gets caught with their pants down. I'm not finding them. New York Post article. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm splurged $125,000 on taxpayer-funded EV road trip with her staff blowing through per diem. Now, this will explain a little bit better here in a moment. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm dropped nearly $125,000 in taxpayer money on pricey hotels and other expenses during her electric vehicle boosting summer road trip, and that was in 2023, flanked by a gas guzzling car, while her staff improperly exceeded daily federally determined allowances, according to the department's watchdog. So she drove around in an electric vehicle and had a support staff driving around in gas vehicles escorting her. Yeah, that makes sense. Granholm's team submitted 42 travel vouchers worth $124,824 for the taxpayer-funded tour, but 36 of them had lodging costs valued over the government's per diem rate to the tune of $9,487.50. Some of the travelers also received higher reimbursement amounts than they were supposed to, and several travel reports had inaccurate information, prompting House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer to seize on the report as proof of serious waste, fraud, and abuse. The inflated costs were also a direct result of the Energy Department's chosen method of travel. There had been cheaper hotels, usually within a mile or so, but Granholm's group decided to book rooms near EV charging stations. Travelers could have chosen different nearby hotels to reduce travel costs at the government's expense. However, department officials mentioned difficulties finding hotels with functioning EV chargers on site or nearby. The difficulty finding charging stations is the result of what the Democratic senator called the Biden administration's pathetic progress on a $5 billion program to expand EV charging depots nationwide. Oh, it's Biden's fault that she drove an electric car so that she could show off, even though she was being escorted by gas vehicles, and then overspent on hotels. It's Biden's fault. That's how it works. All People says with makeup that Kim Gardner person looks like Jigsaw from the horror film Saw. Oh, that's awful. And Caps says this seems like something my teacher would do at school and would claim she is teaching students when she is not. When she is not. So more government waste. It says notably, Granholm also decided against using a Tesla, which had a larger network of chargers available at the time of her trip, which of course she didn't take a Tesla because Elon bad. We're not going to drive a Tesla because we want to act like we all hate Elon, is what that boils down to. And that is Jennifer Granholm, by the way. That's a picture of Jennifer Granholm, in case nobody knows what she looks like. Energy Secretary wasting money, showing off with an electric car to demonstrate that she has one. But again, I mean, if you were going to be trying to make a big deal out of driving the electric vehicle, then your entire entourage should have been in electric vehicles. Why did you have to be followed by gas vehicles? Maybe because you were afraid the electric vehicle wouldn't make it and you'd need to be rescued. Something like that, perhaps? It says Secretary Granholm embarked on a taxpayer-funded EV summer road trip to showcase its radical Green New Deal priorities. This publicity stunt not only illustrates how out of touch the Biden administration is with the consequences of its policies, but came at the expense of American taxpayers. Well, almost everything these people do is at the expense of American taxpayers. We fund all of it. Everything they do is funded by tax dollars. And that's the unfortunate reality of it. They're not good stewards of the money. They are not good stewards of our money, of the money they receive, of the money they spend, of how the money is spent when they pass laws and rules and regulations. And especially when they pull stunts like this. She doesn't care. She doesn't care, and she'll find ways to try to justify it. This right here, that picture, that's why she did it. That's what it's all about, ultimately. Let me show off for this whole Green New Deal thing. Let me get a few photo ops. Here I am plugging in a charger. Brian says electric cars don't have the smell of gasoline. That right there turns me off about them. Oh, you like the gasoline? And Puck says Granholm is a dingbat. Watch her answering questions in congressional hearings. Well, no one said she got the job because she was smart. Or, again, and I've said this many times, they're smarter than we often give them credit for. They got in there. They're living high on the hog from your tax dollars. So they did something right. She's doing better than I am. That's for sure. How about that, Granny? Granny Smith is still asleep. That's okay. We like her that way. We like her that way. Nice and comfortable. That's right, Granny Smith. Nice and comfortable. And Cray says, when someone shows you who they really are, believe it. Exactly. That's right. If they show you who they really are, believe them. Believe them. I'll take another moment to remind you that I did put a new video up on Coffee Talk today, and it is what one of the viewers refers to as the hoodlum mail. Hoodlum mail. That is another mailbag video went up on Coffee Talk today, if you haven't had a chance to see it, where I respond to some of the negative commentary. And with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I'll go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and/or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on Rumble on Coffee Talk 2, and that's Coffee Talk with the number 2. Although I cannot see your comments there. I can't see the comments on Rumble. I can only see them on YouTube. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. So with that, I will say farewell. Thank you, everybody who was able to join us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation. And we will catch you